The dying colony. The red warning lights flashed across the command center of New Terra Colony as commander. Sarah Chun watched 15 Vorthan destroyers slowly circle their home like vultures waiting for death. The massive alien ships hung in, the void of space, their dark hulls bristling with weapons that could turn the entire mining colony into dust within minutes. Sarah rubbed her tired eyes and checked the shield status for the 100th time that day. 18% and falling. New Terra had been humanity's most successful mining operation in the Outer Rim systems. Built inside a cluster of resource-rich asteroids, the colony housed over 12,000 people who had come here seeking a better life among the stars. Miners, engineers, scientists, and their families had turned this remote corner of space into a thriving community. Now all of that was about to end, because the Vorthan Empire had decided these asteroids belonged to them. Dr. Marcus Webb burst through the command center doors, his usually neat hair disheveled from running through the colony corridors. Marcus was the chief scientist and had been working around the clock trying to find a way to boost their failing shields. His face showed the exhaustion of a man who had not slept in 3 days, but his eyes still held the determination that Sarah had come to rely on during this crisis. "Sarah, we need to talk," Marcus said while catching his breath. "I've been analyzing the Vorthan attack patterns, and something doesn't add up. They have enough firepower to destroy us completely, but they're just wearing down our shields slowly. It's like they're waiting for something." Captain Torres looked up from his tactical display where he had been tracking the enemy ships. Torres was a veteran of the border conflicts and had seen more combat than anyone else on the station. His weathered face showed the strain of watching an enemy he could not fight. "Maybe they want to capture the mining equipment intact," he suggested. "Dead humans are no threat, but destroyed machinery cannot mine their asteroids." Sarah nodded while studying the tactical readout. The Vorthan ships maintained perfect formation, just outside the range where New Terra's few defensive weapons could reach them. It was a methodical siege designed to slowly strangle the colony rather than destroy it quickly. The aliens were known for their patience and strategic thinking, which made them dangerous enemies for humanity's more aggressive nature. Engineer Lisa Park was monitoring communications from her station near the back of the command center. Lisa was young but brilliant with technology, and she had been trying to get word to Earth about their situation. Her fingers moved quickly across her controls as she attempted to boost their signal through the Vorthan jamming fields. "Commander, I'm still getting interference on all frequencies," she reported. "The nearest Earth fleet is 6 weeks away, even if they got our message." The reality of their situation hit Sarah like a physical blow. 6 weeks might as well be 6 years when their shields would fail in less than 2 days. She had already tried every option she could think of. The colony's transport ships were too slow and too few to evacuate everyone, and the Vorthans would simply destroy them if they tried to run. Fighting was impossible with their limited weapons against 15 military warships. Surrender meant death or slavery for everyone on the station. Dr. Webb pulled up a holographic display showing the asteroid field around New Terra. "Sarah, there's something else. I've been detecting strange energy readings from Sector 7. That area has been abandoned for years because the mining teams said the rock formations were too unstable to work safely. But the energy signatures I'm seeing don't match anything we should have out there." Torres frowned as he looked at the display. "What kind of energy signatures?" Marcus manipulated the hologram to show more detail. "That's just it. I can't identify them. The readings are definitely artificial, not natural geological activity. It's almost like there's some kind of massive power source hidden inside those asteroids. The energy output would be enough to power a battleship." Sarah felt a spark of hope, but she forced herself to stay realistic. Could it be some kind of weapon the Vorthans left behind? Maybe they're planning to use it against us. I don't think so, Marcus replied while studying his data. The readings have been consistent for months, probably years. Whatever is out there was there long before the Vorthans arrived. And the technology signatures look more human than alien, though that shouldn't be possible. Lisa looked up from her communication station with excitement. Commander, what if it's some kind of old Earth military installation? During the early expansion period, the military sometimes built secret bases in remote systems. Maybe they left. Something behind that could help us. The idea seemed far-fetched, but Sarah had run out of conventional options. Any chance was better than no chance at all. Marcus, how long would it take to send a probe to Sector 7 to investigate? Before he could answer, every alarm in the command center began blaring at once. Torres was immediately at his tactical display, his hands moving quickly over the controls. Commander, I'm detecting a massive energy surge from the Vorthan fleet. All ships are powering up their main weapons. I think they're preparing for a final assault. Sarah felt her heart sink as she watched the enemy ships on the main display. The aliens had apparently decided that the slow siege was taking too long. She activated the colony-wide communication system, knowing that these might be her last words to the people she had sworn to protect. All residents of New Terra, this is Commander Chun. The enemy is preparing to attack. Move immediately to the deepest sections of the colony and take cover in the emergency shelters. This is not a drill. All non-essential personnel should report to designated safe areas immediately. Throughout the colony, families grabbed their children and ran for the reinforced sections deep inside the asteroids. The miners who knew the tunnels best helped guide others to safety. Dr. Helen Morrison, the colony's medical chief, organized her staff to set up emergency treatment areas in the protected zones. Everyone moved with the calm efficiency of people who had drilled for this moment, even though they all knew the shelters might not be enough to save them. Torres was tracking the Vorthan ships as they moved into attack formation. Commander, they're positioning for a coordinated strike. All 15 ships are targeting our main shield generators. When they fire together, our shields won't last 10 seconds. Marcus was still staring at his readings from Sector 7. Sarah, the energy readings are spiking. Whatever is out there, it's responding to the Vorthan activity. The power levels are increasing rapidly. Could it be some kind of automatic defense system? Sarah asked hopefully. I don't know, but something is definitely happening. The energy signature is massive and getting stronger by the second. Lisa suddenly straightened up at her communication station. Commander, I'm picking up a new contact on long-range sensors. There's something approaching from the outer system, moving at incredible speed. Torres switched his display to show the new contact. Confirmed. Unknown vessel approaching at velocities it should be impossible for anything that size. The mass. Readings suggest it's larger than any ship in our database. Sarah felt a mixture of hope and fear. Another ship could mean rescue, but it could also mean more enemies. Can you identify it? Lisa worked frantically at her controls. Negative, Commander. The ship isn't responding to any communication attempts, and its configuration doesn't match any known design. But the energy signature. She paused and double-checked her readings. The energy signature is similar to what Dr. Webb is detecting from Sector 7. Marcus looked up from his display with wide eyes. Sarah, I think whatever is in Sector 7 and that approaching ship are connected somehow. The energy patterns are almost identical. The tactical display showed the unknown vessel would reach New Terra in approximately 15 minutes. The Vorthan fleet was preparing to fire in less than 5 minutes. Sarah realized that whatever was about to happen, it would determine the fate of every person on the colony. Torres was monitoring the enemy fleet when he suddenly cursed under his breath. Commander, The Vorthans are detecting the approaching. Ship 2. Some of their vessels are breaking formation to investigate the new contact. On the main display, Sarah could see 6 Vorthan destroyers turning away from New Terra to face the unknown vessel. The remaining 9 ships maintained their positions around the colony, still preparing to attack. The alien commanders were clearly confused by this unexpected development, but they were not going to let it stop their assault. "Time to Vorthan attack?" Sarah asked. 3 minutes, Commander. Asterisk Sarah looked around the command center at her dedicated staff. These people had worked with her for years to build New Terra into something special. They deserved better than to die in some alien power grab over mining rights. But if they were going to die, they would face it with the courage and determination that had brought humanity to the stars. "All stations, maintain positions and continue monitoring," Sarah ordered. "Whatever happens in the next few minutes, we face it together." Dr. Webb was still watching his energy readings when he suddenly grabbed Sarah's arm. "Commander, look at this. The energy source in Sector 7 is moving. It's actually moving through the asteroid field toward us." Torres confirmed the reading. On his tactical display, multiple contacts emerging from Sector 7. I count at least one massive object and several smaller escorts. They're heading directly for our position. Lisa was trying to raise the unknown ships on every frequency she could access. Still no response to communication attempts, but I'm detecting some kind of scanning beam focused on our colony. Someone is taking detailed readings of our situation. The unknown vessels were now visible on the main display as they emerged from the asteroid field. Sarah stared in amazement at what she was seeing. The lead ship was enormous, easily 3 times the size of the largest Vorthan destroyer. Its design was sleek and predatory, with weapon ports that glowed with contained energy. The smaller escort ships moved with perfect coordination, like a pack of hunters following their leader. "Those ships," Marcus said quietly while staring at the display. "The technology looks human, but it's far more advanced than anything Earth has built. The design principles are clearly human, but the scale and capabilities are beyond our current level." Torres was running every scan he could think of. "I'm not detecting any identification signals or fleet markings. It's like these ships don't officially exist." The approaching vessels were now less than 5 minutes away from New Terra. The Vorthan fleet was in chaos as their commanders tried to decide whether to continue their attack on the colony or deal with this new threat. Sarah could see the alien ships maneuvering frantically as they attempted to cover both targets. "Commander," Lisa called out urgently, "I'm receiving a transmission from the lead unknown vessel." Sarah straightened up. "Put it through." A woman's voice filled the command center. It was calm and authoritative, with the kind of confidence that came from commanding respect through years of successful leadership. "New Terra Colony, this is Admiral Catherine Stone of the Earth Defense Vessel. Eternal Vigilance. We have monitored your situation and are moving to assist. Prepare all civilians for potential combat operations and maintain current defensive positions." Sarah felt her knees go weak with relief. An Earth Defense Force ship meant they were saved, but she had never heard of any vessel called Eternal Vigilance. "Admiral Stone, this is Commander Chun. We have over 12,000 civilians and our shields are failing. The Vorthan fleet has 15 destroyers, and they're preparing to attack." There was a pause before Admiral Stone responded. "Understood, Commander. The Eternal Vigilance has been monitoring this system for some time. We will handle the Vorthan threat. Keep your people safe and prepare for immediate combat operations." Torres was staring at his display in disbelief. "Commander, that ship just appeared on our sensors, as if it materialized out of nowhere. The mass readings are incredible. It's larger than anything Earth has ever built." A massive human warship was now clearly visible on the main screen as it approached New Terra. Sarah could see details of its construction that made her gasp in amazement. The hull was covered with weapon systems that she could not identify, and the entire ship seemed to radiate power that was almost alive. Dr. Webb was checking his energy readings again. Sarah, the power signature from that ship matches what I detected in Sector 7. I think it's been hiding there for years, maybe decades, waiting and watching. The Vorthan Fleet commander was apparently as confused as Sarah about the sudden appearance of the human warship. His voice came through their communication system, and Sarah could hear uncertainty mixed with anger. Unknown human vessel, you are interfering in Vorthan military operations. Withdraw immediately or be destroyed along with the colony. Admiral. Stone's response was immediate and filled with cold authority. Vorthan commander, you have violated human space and threatened civilian lives. You have 60 seconds to withdraw your forces or face the consequences of your aggression. Sarah almost laughed at the situation. One human ship, no matter how large, giving an ultimatum to 15 alien warships seemed either incredibly brave or completely insane. But something in Admiral Stone's voice suggested that she knew exactly what she was doing. The Vorthan commander's reply was filled with rage. You dare threaten the Vorthan Empire with a single ship? Your arrogance will be your destruction. All vessels, open fire and eliminate both targets immediately. Sarah watched in horror as the Vorthan fleet turned their weapons toward both New Terra and the approaching human warship. The combined firepower was enough to destroy anything in space, and she closed her eyes, waiting for the end. But the end did not come. The Guardian awakens when Sarah opened her eyes. She saw something that defied everything she thought she knew about space combat. The eternal vigilance had not been destroyed by the Vorthan attack. Instead, the massive human warship seemed to shimmer and phase through the enemy weapons fire as if it existed in multiple dimensions at once. The deadly energy beams and plasma bolts that should have vaporized any ship simply passed through the hull without causing any damage. What the hell just happened? Torres shouted while staring at his instruments in disbelief. Dr. Webb was frantically checking his sensors. Commander, the ship appears to have some kind of phase-shifting technology. It can alter its molecular structure to avoid incoming weapons fire. I've never seen anything like this before. The Vorthan fleet was in complete chaos. Their commanders were screaming orders at each other as they tried to understand how their weapons had failed to hit such a large target. Sarah could hear the panic in their communications as they realized they were facing technology that was far beyond their understanding. Admiral Stone's voice came through the communication system again, and Sarah noticed that she sounded almost bored by the alien attack. Vorthan Commander, your time is up. All personnel on New Terra, take immediate cover in your deepest shelters. Combat operations will commence in 30 seconds. Sarah grabbed the colony-wide communication system. All civilians, get to the emergency shelters immediately. Everyone, move to the most protected areas of the colony and stay there until further notice. She could hear people running through the corridors as families made their way to the reinforced sections deep inside the asteroids. The miners and engineers who knew the colony best helped guide others to safety. Dr. Morrison was coordinating medical teams in the protected areas, preparing for whatever was about to happen. Torres was monitoring the tactical situation. Commander, the Eternal Vigilance is moving into attack position. The power readings from their weapon systems are beyond anything in our database. The massive human warship began to glow with energy as its weapons charged for combat. Sarah could see ports opening along the hull to reveal weapons that seemed to channel pure starlight. The ship's power output climbed to levels that should have been impossible for any vessel to generate and maintain. Lisa was trying to scan the mysterious warship. Commander, I'm detecting multiple weapon systems of unknown configuration. Energy patterns suggest technology that is decades ahead of our current capabilities. Dr. Webb was watching his instruments with the expression of a scientist witnessing a miracle. Sarah, the power core on that ship is generating more energy than our entire colony uses in a year. Whatever kind of reactor they have, it's based on principles we haven't discovered yet. The countdown reached 0, and space exploded into light. The Eternal Vigilance's first salvo was unlike anything Sarah had ever imagined possible. Beams of pure energy lanced out from the human warship and struck 3 Vorthan destroyers simultaneously. The alien ships did not explode or break apart in the traditional sense. Instead, they seemed to simply cease existing, as if they had been erased from reality itself. "My God," Marcus whispered while staring at the main screen. "What kind of weapons are those?" Before anyone could answer, the human warship fired again. This time, 5 more Vorthan ships vanished in flashes of brilliant light. The remaining alien vessels were trying desperately to retreat, but their engines seemed sluggish compared to the incredible speed of the Eternal Vigilance. "Admiral," Stone's voice filled the command center as the battle continued. "Commander Chun, this is Admiral Stone. Your colony is secure. The Vorthan threat is being eliminated." Sarah found her voice, though she could barely believe what she was witnessing. "Admiral, how is this possible? That technology is far beyond anything Earth has developed." There was a pause before Admiral Stone replied. "Commander, I think it's time you learned the truth about the Eternal Vigilance and why we've been guarding this sector for the past 50 years. The remaining Vorthan ships were attempting to flee the system, but the human warship pursued them with relentless efficiency. Sarah watched as the last alien destroyer tried to escape into hyperspace, only to be caught by some kind of energy field that prevented its jump drive from engaging. Moments later, it too vanished in a flash of light. "All Vorthan vessels have been eliminated," Torres reported with amazement. The entire engagement lasted less than 4 minutes. Admiral Stone's voice came through the communication system again. "New Terra Colony, this is Admiral Stone requesting permission to come aboard. I believe you deserve an explanation for what just happened here." Sarah looked around the command center at her staff, all of whom were staring at her with the same mixture of relief and confusion that she felt. "Permission granted, Admiral. We'll meet you in Docking Bay 3. An hour later, Sarah stood in the colony's main conference room waiting to meet the woman who had saved them all. The Eternal Vigilance had docked with New Terra using technology. That allowed the massive warship to link seamlessly with the colony's much smaller docking systems. Through the viewports, Sarah could see the incredible vessel up close, and it was even more impressive than it had appeared on the sensors. The conference room door opened, and Admiral Catherine Stone walked in, followed by a tall man in a uniform that Sarah did not recognize. The Admiral was probably in her 60s, with gray hair and eyes that held the wisdom of someone who had seen decades of deep space operations. She carried herself with the confidence of a leader who had faced impossible odds and emerged victorious. "Commander Chun," Admiral Stone said while extending her hand. "I apologize for the dramatic entrance, but the situation required immediate action." Sarah shook the Admiral's hand, noting the firm grip of someone accustomed to command. "Admiral, I don't know how to thank you. You saved 12,000 lives today. But I have to ask, who are you and where did you come from?" Admiral Stone smiled and gestured to her companion. "This is Captain David Park, my second in command. As for who we are, the answer is both simple and complicated. The Eternal Vigilance is part of a classified Earth Defense Force program that has been operating in the Outer Rim systems for the past 50 years. Dr. Webb leaned forward in his chair. "Admiral, our records show no Earth warships with capabilities like yours. The technology we witness today is decades ahead of anything in the public database. That's because it is, Admiral Stone replied. The Eternal Vigilance was built using experimental technology that has never been officially acknowledged. We've been testing advanced propulsion systems, defensive measures, and weapons technology in deep space operations far from Earth. Captain Park took over the explanation. The phase-shifting capability you witnessed is based on quantum field manipulation. The ship can exist in multiple dimensional states simultaneously, allowing it to avoid conventional weapons fire. The weapon systems use controlled antimatter reactions, focused through crystalline matrices that can disrupt molecular bonds at the quantum level. Sarah felt her head spinning as she tried to process what she was hearing. But why have you been hiding out here? And why haven't Earth's other colonies been told about ships like yours? Admiral Stone's expression became more serious. Commander, the truth is that Earth's expansion into space has made us enemies we're not ready to face. The Vorthan Empire is just one of several alien civilizations that see humanity as a threat to their established order. The government decided that humanity needed guardian ships positioned throughout our territory, ready to respond when conventional forces couldn't reach threatened colonies in time. Dr. Webb was taking notes as fast as he could write. How many ships like the Eternal Vigilance are there? That's classified, Admiral Stone replied. But I can tell you that New Terra is not the first colony we've protected, and it won't be the last. There are threats out here that most people cannot imagine, and sometimes the only thing standing between human civilians and extinction is advanced technology, operated by people willing to spend their lives in the darkness between stars. Torres had been quiet during the explanation, but now he spoke up. Admiral, the Vorthans will report what happened here. Other alien civilizations will know that humanity has capabilities beyond what they expected. Admiral Stone nodded. That's true, Captain. And in some ways, that's exactly what we want. The universe is a dangerous place, and sometimes the best defense is making sure your enemies know you can defend yourself. Today's action will send a message throughout this sector that human colonies are not defenseless targets. Lisa had been monitoring communications during the meeting. Admiral, I'm detecting several ships approaching the system. They appear to be human merchant vessels and a small Earth Defense Force patrol. Word travels fast, Captain Park observed. The destruction of an entire Vorthan fleet will attract attention from both human and alien sources. Admiral Stone stood up from the conference table. Commander Chun, the Eternal Vigilance will remain in this system for another day to ensure no other threats emerge. After that, we'll return to our patrol route. I want you to understand that what happened here today must remain classified. The existence of ships like ours depends on maintaining operational security. Sarah nodded, understanding the implications. What should we tell the arriving Earth ships about what happened? Tell them the truth, that the Vorthan fleet was destroyed by Earth Defense Force vessels responding to your distress call. You don't need to mention the specific capabilities of those vessels. Dr. Webb had one more question. Admiral, will we see you again? Admiral Stone smiled as she headed toward the door. Doctor, the Eternal Vigilance has been watching over this sector for 50 years. We'll continue to be here, even if you don't see us. That's what Guardians do. We protect from the shadows so that people like you can build something better. In the light, as Admiral Stone and Captain Park left the conference room, Sarah felt a mixture of gratitude and awe. The knowledge that ships like the Eternal Vigilance were out there, protecting human colonies from threats they never even knew existed, gave her hope for humanity's future among the stars. Through the viewport, she watched as the massive warship undocked from New Terra and began moving toward the outer system. Within minutes, it had disappeared from her sensors as completely as if it had never existed. But Sarah knew it was still out there somewhere, along with others like it, standing guard over humanity's expansion into the galaxy. Dr. Webb joined her at the viewport. Sarah, do you think there are more threats out there that we don't know about? Sarah continued watching the empty space where the eternal vigilance had vanished. Marcus, I think today we learned that the universe is far more dangerous and far more protected than we ever imagined. But as long as people like Admiral Stone are willing to spend their lives keeping us safe, I believe humanity has a future among the stars. The red warning lights in the command center had been replaced by the normal blue illumination of a functioning colony. Outside, the miners were already returning to work in the asteroid fields, and families were coming out of the emergency shelters to resume their daily lives. New Terra would continue to grow and prosper, protected by guardians they would never see, but who would always be watching Dot in the depths of space. The Eternal Vigilance resumed its patrol route, ready to answer the next call for help from humans who had chosen to make their lives among the stars. Admiral Stone stood on the bridge of her ship, looking out at the galaxy that held both wonders and terrors beyond imagination. Aegis, she said to the ship's artificial intelligence, begin monitoring protocols for Sector 12. Intelligence reports suggest increased alien activity in that region. The AI's voice filled the bridge with calm efficiency. Monitoring protocols initiated, Admiral. All systems standing by for extended patrol operations. Admiral Stone smiled as she watched the stars stream past the bridge viewports. Somewhere out there, human colonists were building new homes and dreaming of the future. It was her job to make sure those dreams had a chance to become reality, no matter what threats emerged from the darkness between worlds. The Eternal Vigilance disappeared into the void, carrying its crew of guardians toward their next mission. Behind them, New Terra Colony continued its work of extracting precious resources from the asteroid field. The miners and engineers never, knowing how close they had come to extinction or how many other threats were being held at bay by ships they would never see. In the command center, Sarah Chand filed her official report about the Vorthan attack and its resolution. The report mentioned Earth Defense Force, vessels responding to their distress call and successfully eliminating the alien threat. It did not mention phase-shifting hulls, quantum antimatter weapons, or ships that could erase enemies from existence itself. Some secrets were worth keeping, especially when they protected the people who had chosen to build humanity's future among the stars. The universe was vast and dangerous, but it was also filled with guardians who stood watch in the darkness, ready to emerge when their fellow humans needed them most. And in the empty sectors between the stars, other ships like the Eternal Vigilance continued their eternal patrol, waiting for the day when they would be needed again to remind the galaxy that humanity would not go quietly into the night.